And while Nedbank Group plans to acquire a 36.4% share of Mozambique's sixth largest bank, Banco Unico, for $24 million. The group says it'll later increase the stake to a majority shareholding. And Smit Krauser, who is managing executive for Nedbank Rest of Africa Investments, Alliances and Strategy, joins us at the desk to unpack this new venture. Let's take a look at things from perspective of strategy, Smit, first of all, because you were saying off air that it's certainly small when you're looking at the price tag or from a monetary perspective, but it's a very big news when it comes to strategy.
That's right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think in terms of looking at our philosophy of following our clients, we've seen a lot of our South African clients and multinational clients moving into Mozambique and looking at the various opportunities in the development of Mozambique. So strategically in supporting our clients and then also growing our share of having a presence in the rest of Africa. Certainly that is a major step forward for us.
Smit, having a look at your statement accompanying this deal, which is $24.4 million, it's a small deal in monetary terms, but I think it's quite significant because it's, again, expanding your African footprint, if you like. And I know you don't want to talk about the trading statement that came out from Nedbank this morning, and so you shouldn't. The point is that I think the trading statement illustrates that banks like yours need to further geographically diversify. You say expansion into the rest of Africa is one of Nedbank Group's 4 key strategic focus areas. Where does it sit? 1, 2, 3 or 4, would you say?
Can you just repeat the last bit?
If you've got 4 strategic areas of growth in the future, 4 key areas, yes, which is the rest of Africa strategy? Where does it come?
Well, we have 4 and there's no specific order in those 4.
But obviously very key, and you will continue to push into Africa with deals like the one we're chatting about now.
Absolutely, because it supports our business in South Africa. If you look at the clients that we are following that are moving across Africa, it's very important to provide them with a network, to transact and to help them identify opportunities locally that relate to the investment and the going forward of that emerging economy.
Smit, to what extent does this spell out a divergence of your existing African expansion strategy? Because you've gone through expansion in Africa and targeting growth in that regard with a JV with EcoBank specifically. Is this now a change in tack?
Absolutely not. We've consistently said that with regards to our expansion and our strategy into Africa, we leveraged EcoBank's position of strength in West Africa and Central Africa, where they are very strong, and they have a network that seamlessly provides a one-bank experience to our customers in South Africa. Insofar as it relates to East Africa and SADC, that is where we'd like to expand our presence and where we believe we can move from a position of strength and have identified opportunities where we would pursue in terms of expansion, such as the one into Mozambique.
Yeah.
Smit, what about the scramble for African banking assets now? Because all the banks want to, so there are several banks that are in a similar position to you, in other words, as I've said before, expanding their African footprints. Does it mean that there's going to be sort of bidding wars and therefore the prices might become a little bit too glamorous?
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think given the circumstances, I don't think we're back in the pre-2008 where the price multiples of banks were extremely high. I do believe that, if you look at the capital management of banks generally, we've taken a very cautious approach in being capital efficient and risk mitigated and having such a strategy. I think our strategies are different and our approach is different. I don't believe as such that, it would have that effect. I still believe banks will be cautious in terms of managing capital going forward.
And how are you rating your competitive muscle when it comes to dealing with competition in Africa?
I think we have a peculiar strategy, and we don't necessarily try and boast that we have this significant distribution network and stop there. I believe that we have a partnership approach, which gives us a bit of a dynamic where we are partnering with real local banks that have access to local knowledge, which is very key in being successful in those countries from a banking perspective, but also to identify opportunities for your clients and to be effective over and above providing transactional banking services. If you look at West Africa, for instance, banking services are quite expensive. So in terms of having a relationship with EcoBank where we can look at the pricing specifically whether it comes to trade and then other services, I do believe that it brings a different dynamic. I believe we are well placed to make various decisions that can position our strategy as very different and give us an edge, clearly leveraging the largest network that we have currently. If you look at EcoBank's network and the growing network of Nedbank at the moment, we have the largest network. And I believe we're making great progress, and we will continue to leverage that, and I believe it does place us in a very good position.
Yeah.
Smit, how do you approach the expansion into Africa? Is it on a deal-by-deal basis? In other words, you've got your scouts out there and someone says, right, there's a deal in Mozambique which I think you'll be interested in. Or do you say to yourself, this is the area we want to be in, this is the area that is underserviced, this is the area that's got the highest GDP growth potential in the future and the right demographics, etc., so we're going to concentrate on there and go in and try and find something?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination of both. Opportunities aren't always there. So even though you might identify a really good country we'd like to expand into, there may not be any opportunity, and the banking sector may be difficult to penetrate. We certainly have done a lot of work in terms of accessing local knowledge to look at the various environments and the regions that we'd like to go into. Looking at the regulatory environment, looking at the economic situation, looking at various opportunities. But most important, that Nedbank can move from a position of strength, identify our opportunity to support our clients that are moving in there, and also where there are significant opportunities where from an advisory perspective on investment banking deals, whether it's innovation in terms of accessing or growing the access to banking services to the local community, such as Mozambique, that's only got about 77% have bank accounts. So I think it's a combination where we really got to know that we're moving from a position of strength. We have good local partners. We appreciate the regulatory environment, and we're confident about the country. So it's a combination of opportunities, but also looking at the criteria that we've set out for ourselves.